Hey guys, I want to show y'all something. This next spring I'm probably going to do some kind of a video on planting a garden. Last few years me and my wife have experimented with a bunch of different garden stuff. We did some raised beds at first, then kind of expanded that, and then dug it all up, and it just getting too much weeds in it and stuff. So now we planted a garden this year and had great success with it. I mean, it did absolutely wonderful. And a good friend of mine named Julie Cohn, she actually does a lot of organic gardening at her house with her flowers and stuff. Uses a lot of compost. So she suggested to me this last year that we start a compost pile. So we did. Had a really big compost pile by the time spring came around. We spread all over the garden and used very little fertilizer one time when we first planted. As the plants started coming up, we ended up composting everything, never fertilized again, and the garden just exploded. It was a great year for a garden because of all the rain. So there's a lot, that came up that may have had something to do with all the water too. I don't know, but I'm going to kind of track it this year as we go through and plant everything. But I want to show y'all something. This right here is our compost pile. And all this that you can see right here, I've been digging around it. It's kind of a mess. This is sweet potatoes. All of that right there is sweet potatoes. Now we picked those sweet potatoes back in, it was probably September. We dug all of them up, just went through all the vines in here and covered them up with our compost. And that right there is what it turned into. Y'all can see here too, we've got those right there are potatoes, just regular potatoes that Christy actually threw out here in the compost pile from the kitchen. One thing that I did is just stuck a piece of a rotten potato in the ground right here. I actually didn't even put it in the dirt. I just put it under this pine straw just as an experiment, just to see what would happen. Because I mean, pine straw is loose, but there's a lot of moisture up under there just to see how it would go. I'm going to show y'all something. Like at the bottom of these plants, you can see these little potatoes. See those little potatoes starting to grow, and that is sitting literally on top of the ground. Look at this, just under this pine straw. I mean, that to me is hilarious. I mean, it's just amazing. Look at that. See, we're growing potatoes with nothing more than pine straw. Over here too, there's something else really funny. Peas. I've got purple hulls that are almost ready to pick. That are growing. That's pea plant. We've got pea plants down here. And then over here we've got a tomato plant growing. Now keep in mind, let's see, what is the date today? Today is November the 10th. And all this stuff is still green and just thriving. Of course you got to keep in mind, it's been fairly warm, mild fall, so it's a little bit warmer right now than it usually is this time of year. But look at the rest of our garden, like our actual gardens where our peas and beans and stuff are planted. All this right here is just about completely done. The okra, this is still trying to produce, but we've got enough okra for about 15 families, so we gave up on it a long time ago. And I've got another tomato right down here that's kind of voluntary. He showed up about a month or so ago, and he has actually got some tomatoes trying to grow on him. So I figure the cold weather is going to come pretty soon and try to kill those things. We're going to try to dig them up tomorrow and put them in some buckets and see if we can't grow them inside, kind of like you're overwintering a potted plant. But anyway, probably won't make another garden video, I don't guess, until I don't know, sometime this spring we start prepping everything and getting everything ready to plant. But y'all stay tuned, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in a folder on my YouTube channel, and I'm just going to keep a series going. As anytime I do anything out here to change anything, I'm going to put it on there, so if nothing else, we can't look back and remember what we did, because usually we don't remember what we do. And I don't know, sometimes the videos help to look back on, because like our okra, for instance, when we planted it this spring, we put peas down there at the end, And the okra that grew up right next to the peas actually did like 3 times better. It had bigger limbs, it had bigger okra, it had more okra. I guess it liked the nitrogen coming off of those peas is the only thing I can figure. I'm going to look it up, do a little research on that, and try to figure it out. But all these beans and peas too were actually planted where the squash and zucchini were, and they seem to absolutely love that. So that's something else we're going to try to do again this next year, and just kind of repeat the process of anything that works, anything that doesn't, we're just going to do away with. I have no idea what the deal is with broccoli. We have been trying to grow broccoli. I actually planted this late this year, and our broccoli doesn't do anything except just grow in little stalks. We planted it early this last spring, and it just grew up, bolted, made flowers, seeds, and died. So, I don't know, we may not try that again, or I may do a little research and figure out what I did wrong. I may have too much or too little of something on it as far as fertilizer. But anyway, we will see y'all again in the spring with some garden stuff.